I told him, I'm like, I'd like something that's less rolly, a little bit more like psychedelic-y. And he's like, all right, literally texted his like formulator guy on the
No
spot,
way.
like, hey, here's what we want for the new batch. So this is modern day Hippie. We are your homies who've done nearly every drug under the sun. Over 600 psychedelic trips and nearly every kind of bender you can possibly imagine have armed us with a universe of knowledge. I'm Yuki, and with my co-host Reggie, we talk about how we do drugs in a responsible, safe, and fun way to improve our lives. Before we dive in, and so we don't get sued, a quick legal disclaimer.
This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Our goal is to educate and inform others about the realities of substance use in an engaging and entertaining format. We share these experiences so you can learn from them without trying them yourself. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to attempt to recreate anything found in this episode or in any of our other content. We are not confessing to any acts stated in this podcast. The content in this episode should not be treated as factual or real in any way.
With that, we welcome you through our portal and hope you enjoy the show.
What's up, hippies? Hope you're having a vibey day today. Yuki, my man, I heard that you had quite the weekend.
Yeah, man, I went on the most unexpected bender this weekend, and it wasn't even the usual, like, going out on the town, running into people, like, doing some crazy all-nighter somewhere else, but there were definitely some highlights to it, and, dude, I was like, I'm going to recover this weekend. I'm going to take it easy. But I did the exact fucking opposite. I probably did, like by myself, I probably did at least like half a gram of Tusi.
Jeez, by yourself?
It wasn't alone, but like me individually, I probably did half a gram. And this wasn't any Tusi. This is actually a custom strain that I'm helping my buddy develop of his own Tusi that he wants to kind of start like seeding around in our city,
nice.
and selling to people. But there's some backstory there that I'll get into, and just this fucking weekend, man. So I'll step back and I'll set the context to start things off. So this weekend, my girlfriend was out of town, and usually when she's out of town, I'm like, okay, number one, it's just a good time for me to like be at home, focus in on just getting extra work done, like locking into my habits, shit like that, which on the weekdays I did great. Like I was super productive. I was knocking shit out left and right. And then on like evenings and more so weekends, I'm like, all right, like all the time and energy that I would usually spend with her, which I'm always super happy to do. I'm like, let me just put that into hanging out with friends. And
nice.
I was like, let me catch up with one of my Burning Man buddies who I talked about on our Burning Man episodes quite a while ago. And this was the same guy who brought about 25 grams of Tusi to Playa.
God.
And together we just like dosed entire camps at Burning Man with Tusi and just left a fucking trail of flaming wreckage in our wake. And also known for the Tusi assembly line of getting like 25 plus people just in line, like leading in for the Tusi. Anyway, all that jazz. If you want to hear those stories, go check out the Burning Man episodes from like, I don't know, September 2023 or something like that. But it was that same guy. And honestly, dude, this guy, he's in his like late 30s, early 40s. He's like made it financially, career-wise, job-wise. But dude, he is such a fucking animal. Like he goes harder than anyone I have ever met. And it is like his lifestyle. Like this guy just does not stop. And me out here, you know, in my like late 20s, it's just I can't even keep up, right? And this weekend I was like, all right, dude, let's hang out. Let's see what you've been up to. And so Friday night rolls around, text him, I'm like, yo, bro, like, what are you up to? He's like, nothing much, like just hanging out at home, like come through. So I go to his house. First off, like this is a guy I just met through Burning Man, got super close to, super homie. Dude, he lives 5 minutes away from me, so super convenient. Like I swear,
Nice.
like some things are just meant to be. And him and I like click. Like literally Friday night, I show up and I get there probably at like 11 p.m. Bro, we are up until 8 a.m. Just the two of us shooting the shit and doing just like this big bag of his yellow Tusi.
Oh my god, the Pollo.
Dude, yeah, it's not even the Pollo. So the Pollo is like,
oh really?
Yellow stuff, Mexico City. Like basically what he did is he has all these connects around Mexico. And so he flew in his like dealer slash drug formulator, and this guy is staying like a few blocks away from his house. And basically, while he's here for a month, they're developing this like new custom strain of Tusi that they want to design to like their own specifications. And so our like pretense for hanging out was like, yo, come over, test this new batch of Tusi. Like, you got to let me know what you think of it.
Oh my God. That's
so
what
the
started the bender.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And so the batch that he had brought to my birthday party was like batch number 1. That one was like pretty good, but it wasn't as like uppity as we thought it should be. Like we felt like I was a little bit too heavy on the ketamine. And so, yeah, quick lesson for those of you guys who aren't up to date. When I'm referring to Tusi here, this is kitchen sink Tusi, which is straight up just like a cocktail mishmash of different drugs. So when you're buying this, like usually pink Tusi, it's a mixture of anywhere from 2 to let's say like 4 or 5 different drugs. And so for the rest of this episode, all this Tusi is just kitchen sink Tusi. As far as I know, there's no actual 2CB in it. It's just all sorts of other shit. So we're here. Like I show up to his house. First thing when I come over, he has like a like fairly large Ziploc bag of it. Like probably twice as big as your standard dime bag. Probably got like 2 to 3 grams in it. We just start doing like a shit ton of it. And during this, dude, like, bro, like we're just like broing out. It was such a good time. Like we're talking about life. Like we're talking about like his past relationships. Like, dude, I just love talking to him. And he is the most entertaining fucking storyteller I've ever heard. And this guy has like the craziest fucking friends in the highest places. Like he's hanging out with like billionaires and going on all these crazy trips. He was like, yeah, man, like I was just at this like party with my buddy. I had brought this like new batch of Tusi that my guy had made. And I gave it to this guy who's like some big like CIA like head honcho.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I told him like, dude, I have one rule for this Tusi. Don't overdo it. Like just take small bits at a time. Like it can really like catch up to you and hit you faster than you think it will. And this guy was like, all right, I got you. And like fast forwards later in the night, and this is the story as he's recounting it to me. They're at some like nightclub, and this guy's just on the couch, just like zonked out, like can't even move. And my buddy is just too. I was like, you overdid it, didn't you? He's like, no, everyone's right. He's like, yeah, I think so. And that ended up being foreshadowing for my own nights on that Tuesday.
Oh my God. Of course.
Because as we were talking, like, I get progressively more and more fucked up, and I just start like forgetting when the last time was that I like did a bump. And again, like, dude, we're just storytelling, like we're just chatting for hours and hours on end.
Just getting awesome. Deep, bro. Hell yeah,
dude. It was super deep, and it was just like quality time, man. Like, I'm definitely at a point where like y'all already know, like, I don't go to bars. I barely go to like clubs. That's not my jam. Every once in a while I'll go to like a rave, like EDM sort of thing. Like that's a good time. But man, just having quality time with like one or a handful of homies is like literally one of my favorite ways to spend a night. And like the fact that there's drugs involved, especially something like this Tusi, which I'll tell you like what the component parts of it are in a little bit. Dude, it just makes that time even more profound. Like it stretches out the time frame and it makes conversations feel more like impactful and profound. Like, I don't know, I'm sure you've had experiences like that, but you just have conversations that really feel like they have an impact on you, you know, with like people who you love and people who love you.
Dude, yeah. I feel like there's got to have been something in that Tusi that just increased the empathy. Like, do you feel like there was some kind of psychedelic component to it?
Hey hippies, we hope you're enjoying the show so far. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and are having a good time, you need to come over to YouTube and subscribe to the Modern Day Hippie YouTube channel. We publish exclusive video content, and I promise you the experience is richer and more interesting. So if you're getting any value at all, stop what you're doing, open up the YouTube app, and subscribe at Modern Day Hippie. If you're watching this on YouTube and aren't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Go press subscribe. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Well, he knows exactly what's in it because he like designed the formula. And so he told me that this Tusi, it's 70% MDMA.
Oh my God. No wonder.
Yeah. And then he was like, it's like probably like 20 to 25% ketamine. And then it's like a tiny bit of extra stuff. He either didn't know or didn't really tell me what. but like we were just snorting straight Molly, basically.
Oh my god, dude.
Like a lot of fucking Molly. And at some point, dude, I swear it hits like 3, 4 a.m. I'm like bouncing off the walls. I'm like dancing in his kitchen. I'm like, and you know, as I did more, you know, he's asking like, oh, like, how does it feel? What do you think of it? And at some point, like when I feel that, I'm like I could feel in my head, like I'm rolling, like the waves are coming, bro. Like I am rolling with the fucking waves. I'm just like up here, like dancing like all around. It's like Kitchen Island and shit. And I'm like, bro, like this is just straight up rolling. I was like, this is a lot. And at some point, like I did some more, dude, my fucking like vision starts flickering. I was like, oh fuck, like I can't see.
Oh my god, dude. That sounds fun, but intense. I totally see why he said not to overdo it. I could totally see people snorting too much MDMA and just losing it.
Yeah, and he was so right. Like it really snuck up on me too, because like, you know, my first couple of months, like, you know, I'm feeling pretty vibey and groovy, but I wasn't doing enough to really like feel what were the component parts in this batch of Tusi and to really get a full sense of like, you know, what does this like truly entail? So I'm like vibing, you know, we're good. We're talking as, you know, we're doing like progressively more like the first half of the night. And then at some point it hits me and like, I am fully like, you know, when you do a lot of Molly, I guess, where you could feel like the waves like ebbing through your brain of just like the fucking like serotonin, like just ebbing and flowing. And man, I was feeling that so hard. And dude, the funniest part along all side of this, like throughout the night while we're doing Tusi, while we're just shooting the shit. The other thing you know about this friend is he's like a degenerate gambler. And he loves sport betting. And overnight, like he's just like looking for shit to throw money on. And so I don't know jack shit about sports betting. Like I've never bet on sports in my life. I don't know anything. And so I'm like, yo, bro, like teach me how this goes. You know, we're hanging out. Like this is something you really enjoy. Like, I don't know, just teach me how this shit goes. And he pulls up his betting site. I don't even know like what it was. It was some sketchy like thing.
Oh my god.
And he's just like, there's a section for just like live sports. And dude, it's like 1, 2, 3 a.m. like where we're at. And so, dude, like the only thing that's live, it's this fucking random tennis tournament happening in Hong Kong. And the next match was at 3 a.m.
And no way he bet on that shit.
Dude, not only did he bet, like there was just a random match scheduled for 3 a.m., like our local time. So he's like, all right, fuck it. Like we're betting on these. He does like 30 seconds of research. And there's a name that like, I think we both thought we recognized in the moment as some big tennis player playing against a nobody. It was definitely not a big tennis player. Like his name just sounded similar to like, I don't know, like a Djokovic or like, I don't know, some big tennis guy. I don't know much about tennis to be honest. And he's all right, like $2,000 on that guy winning the match.
No way.
Dude, dead ass.
Did that guy win?
Dude, all right. So here's the bit with this. So he puts down $2,000 for the opportunity to win, I think 300, 350, because the guy we bet on was definitely favored. And so we put this bet down at like, let's say 2:30 a.m. This match wasn't starting until 3. And so, you know, he puts this money down. I'm like, bro, like, come on, man. Like this is just crazy. Like, you don't even know what you're betting on. It's like $2,000, you know, that's like a, you know, like substantial sum of money. And I'm like, all right, like if we're betting on this, like we at least got to like watch the match, right? He's like, all right, I'll find it. And he has, you know, every fucking sports thing on his like smart TV, you know, ESPN and CBS and like whatever. And it's not on anything.
That's sick. I'm not going to lie. That's sick.
Yeah. No, and this match isn't on anything, bro. We can't find it. And you know how do you ever get ads for Fubo TV? It's just like some sports. Bro, so he, for some reason, he was convinced it was on Fubo. So he signs up for Fubo on the spot. Like that was the one sports streaming thing he didn't already have. No, dude, dead ass. Well, this guy does now. And so we go on Fubo, and bro, the match isn't even on Fubo. Like he bet like $2,000 on this match, and we couldn't even figure out how the fuck to watch it. Like there wasn't a stream to watch this freaking tennis match. And so 3 a.m. comes around, and straight up, we're just watching the live score, like on the gambling site. Like it's just the numbers, you know, like there's no stream, there's nothing, just the numbers. And like, dude, I'm telling you, this guy is always doing this. Like he doesn't even care that much. Like for him, it's not about the money. It's straight up for the dopamine hits, and he knows it. And I respect that he knows it. And so he gives less shits about it than I do. So, you know, as we're doing more drugs, as we're talking, this like match is happening. Just we're watching these numbers move up and down like on his computer screen. And yeah, at some point we see that our guy wins the match. And so he gets back his initial $2,000 plus the extra, like whatever, 350. So we're like, I bet, like, that's good. He's like, okay, cool. And so then he wanted to bet it onto a parlay of like literally like a dozen different games starting like in a couple of hours, starting like, you know, Saturday morning. But like he was upset because like his account wasn't being like filled back in with the money that he won. And apparently his buddy runs the gambling site. So he literally calls up his buddy like 5 a.m.
This guy's
like,
connect up the ass, bro.
Oh, dude, you have no idea, bro. You have no fucking clue. And yeah, he makes his parlay, whatever. It becomes 7, 8 a.m. Like we're super fucked up. I end up just like sleeping on his couch because I'm like, I'm not driving home, even though it's 5 minutes. And so I crashed on his couch. It was great. He has a super comfy couch. I wake up, dude, he's already awake. He's like on his laptop just gambling from the TV. He literally like, he takes another bump of Tusi and he had gone to sleep. But he's just like doing more Tusi. I'm like, bro, fuck. And so I hang out with him for probably another 30 minutes. I'm like, I need to go home. I need to eat. I need to like chill out. Right. So that was Friday night, Saturday morning. Then I have a nice, chill, wholesome Saturday, just hanging out with other buddies. Saturday comes around. I'm like, let me see what he's up to again. Cause dude, I love hanging out with this guy. Like even drugs aside, like he is legitimately one of the most like fascinating, interesting people I've ever met. Like he has like the biggest heart. He's the nicest dude ever. But sometimes he also just acts absolutely degenerate, ridiculous, kind of like asshole-ish, but like it's not cause he's an asshole. He's just like direct. And I love this man to death. Like literally one of my best friends, but man, he's just a character. You're at the club and the music is thumping, but you've got nothing left in the tank. So what do? Sniff some cacao. Yep, you heard that right. Sniff some cacao. It's the hottest new trend in the club and party scene. One bump-sized sniff of raw chocolate powder contains the caffeine equivalent to a half cup of coffee, and boom, it hits instantly. And the best part is you can now sniff cacao anytime, anywhere. Right out in the open, in front of the DJ booth or the stage, even at the VIP table with your friends. Now, how does that happen without drawing unwanted attention? Well, Snogo's spring-loaded bump straws make it possible. These classy, triple mirror polished bump straws are the safest, most discreet way to enjoy sniffing cacao. In fact, you've most likely already seen people wearing Snogo's bump straws as pendants around their necks without even knowing it. Discover why sniffing cacao using Snogo bump straws is being called the biggest revolution in partying since the invention of rock and roll. Jump on over to snogostraws.com to learn more. That's SNOGOSTRAWS.com and use discount code MDH25 for 25% off your entire order. And so again, Saturday night, I end up going to his place at like 10, 11. And it turns out he's hanging out with one of his other buddies who's also like an older adult who just had a baby like a year ago. And so this guy and his wife are hanging out at this house as well. And it's like the husband's like turn to be watching the baby. So while he's like watching the baby, you know, the baby is like in the little like, not the crib, the like pen, just like hanging out, doing whatever. The dad's also just doing Tusi with us. And like, dude, the same thing happens all of Saturday night, except instead of just me and my buddy, there's basically 3 of us. And so I meet this guy, like the husband, who's like one of my buddy's like best friends. And dude, he's also like such a fucking homie. We get super close. Literally, I've known this man for a couple of hours. We're doing more of this like Molly Tusi. Bro, in that time, he invites me to his bachelor party and to his wedding in like the next couple of months. Yeah.
No. Oh, hell yeah. Are you going?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm fucking stoked too. Like this is going to be some like really dank partying around Mexico.
Damn, the baby was just chilling in the other room or what? During all this?
No, dude, baby was in the room with us and like his wife was there as well. Like
watching.
Hanging out. I mean, the baby's 14 months old. Like she doesn't know what's what.
Then. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, oh, dude, get this, bro. So at 4 a.m., a group of their friends are like, yo, can we pull up? Like, you know, we just got done like going out, whatever. So this group of probably like 8 people comes over to the house and it just becomes this like like bigger event. It goes from like basically 3 of us like hanging and vibing to like, almost a dozen. And in this group, I'm like meeting people. They're all like older adults, shit like that. And actually one of the women in this group happens to be from my country. And so we start speaking in my native tongue. And I have never spoken my native tongue when I'm like fucked up. And I am like, again, like rolling again on this Tusi for the second time in 2 nights. And I'm like trying to piece together words in my native tongue, which I speak like pretty well, but definitely not as fluently as English. But like that shit was crazy. And
That's
then everyone
wild,
in this,
dude.
yeah, dude. And then everyone in this group knew each other except 2 of them. And it was like these 2 random women who like had like joined the group. And I found out later these 2 women were strippers who like the group had befriended and just like invited them to this like afters. So we're hanging out, whatever. And then like the core group, probably at like 6 a.m. they end up, calling it a night, like they go home, whatever. And the strippers are just like left behind, just like hanging out. And, we're like, all right, like, what do we do with these people? Like, we're still just doing drugs again, just like chatting.
Just you really had a whole weekend,
dude. Dead ass. And all this happened in like one person's like small house.
Wait, so what happened with the stripper girls?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know, they're hanging out, like shooting the shit with each other and us a little bit, but we're still sports betting. They're still putting down like $1 to $2 grand bets on like random shit. Like, like my buddy and his best friend, they're fucking enabling each other, running each other's bets, whatever. And so at some point, like the stripper's like, oh, like, we want to like do something, like, do you guys want to like play a game or anything or like do whatever? And they're like, oh, we want to gamble. They're like, oh, do you want to play dice?
What is
so
dice?
They're like, yeah, so apparently there's a game called Street Dice, which is just like this OG like gambling game where you just use like 5 different dice and you roll them. Or we're like, yeah, we don't have dice. And one stripper's like, oh, dude, I got dice in my car. I always come prepared for this shit. I'm like, bro, you got street dice in your car? And so I like walk her out to a car like a block away. She gets her dice. We go back inside. And she like teaches us this dice game. And it's like everyone puts in like $1 except I always don't have cash. So we just put in little pieces of trash in the pile. And the way the game works at a high level is like basically like you take your turn rolling your dice and you roll them in such a way where like basically you start off rolling all 5. And then if you get some that are lower numbers, you keep them and you keep them aside and then you roll what's left and you keep doing that. And every time you roll, you have to keep at least one of your dice. And the goal is just to get the lowest like sum of dice points total. And whoever gets the lowest in all the group after you go all the way around, like wins the pot. And so I'm super fucked up. They're explaining it to me. I'm like, okay, like this game just feels like kind of stupid. Let's go bet on sports or something. But they like guided me through rolling the dice. I end up winning the fucking game. I win the round.
No way.
I'm like,
how much did you win?
I mean, I won like $1. Literally in the pot, it was one actual real dollar. Then I think it was like a weed dab cartridge that someone found. Then it was like 2 like metal tops from like, like beer cans. And then
did they not represent anything? Like I was assuming that the trash like represented like $50 each or some shit. Like,
I mean, in theory they're supposed to, but like we're not doing it for the money. Yeah, it's for the thrill. It's just for shooting the shit at like 5 a.m. with these random people. Nice. And then that's done, and then they kind of take the hint, like, all right, like it's time to go.
What time is it at this point? Like 6 a.m.
Yeah, it was around 6 a.m. Everyone kind of dips, and then it's just me and my buddy. And at that point, like the couple with the baby, they had gone to sleep in my buddy's bedroom, like with their baby. So it's me and him. We're vibing. We're doing Tusi for a little bit longer. And then I think we pass out again, like after sunrise, like, I don't know, like 8 a.m. And then I sleep in until like 2, 3 p.m. there. I come home. I don't do jack shit the rest of the day because I feel like shit.
Yeah, I was like, how's the come down?
Oh, dude, it was pretty bad. And then honestly, yesterday was Monday, dude. I didn't do shit yesterday. Like I felt terrible. Not even terrible. I just I just had no like drive to do anything. Like I just wanted to lay on the couch.
Doing MDMA all weekend.
Dude, exactly. And honestly, today is like the first day that I feel like 80 to 90% back to like myself. But
Damn,
my
like
buddy was
3 days
asking me
later.
for, yeah. He's asking me for my review of the Tusi and any feedback. And I was like, this isn't my preferred like batch of Tusi, because honestly, I don't want to be doing that much MDMA. Like for me, like we've talked about, like I don't do MDMA when it's like a special occasion, you know, twice, maybe 3 times a year kind of thing. I don't want to be snorting the shit like casually, definitely not in quantities like that. So I told him, I'm like, you know, I'd like something that's less rolly, a little bit more like psychedelic-y. And he's like, all right, literally texted his like formulator guy on the spot, you know, like, hey, here's what we want for the new batch. So I feel like I've had like a decent amount of influence in designing this batch, but I did tell him, I'm like, I feel like people like the people, generally speaking, would love this shit. Cause it's fucking Molly. Like who wouldn't love this shit?
Yeah, dude. I just feel like you got to be intentional with those substances, because then it's really easy to overdo it. Also, like, dude, I personally would be skeptical of making a batch of drugs that I have to warn people not to overdo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, that's a great point. But I'm probably gonna hang out with him again this weekend. So
oh god,
we'll see if he has batch number 3 ready by then, and I'll let you know how this new batch is. But I did tell myself, I'm like, dude, like one night of this a weekend, I think I would have recovered like pretty fine. Like if I had stopped every Friday night, I would have been totally fine by Monday, like back to normal, back like, you know, being productive, working out, etc. But dude, 2 nights back to back, like my sleep schedule is fucked. Because then like Sunday evening, I end up sleeping from like 5 to 8 p.m. and then it's like hard to sleep like that night, and I just fucked myself. But like, dude, like this is literally this guy's life. Like he does this every
that's
weekend.
wild.
I swear to God, just like sports betting. And dude, this guy's a professional partier. Like he is like an incredible like salesman. You know, he does just these like giant sales accounts, like knows crazy people, and just like his job is basically to like party and like be homies with like powerful rich people. So he does a very good job with that, and he has cultivated this skill of literally partying. I'm like, dude, I respect you so much for it. And like I always know when I hang out with him, like obviously we're probably gonna do drugs, we're gonna have fun, but even aside from that, like he's gonna tell me some crazy stories, and like he's a great guy, you know, like he's a good bit older than me, and honestly gives me a lot of like just really solid like life advice, and he's a fucking homie, dude.
People like that in your life for sure.
Yeah. Honestly, I love this guy to death, and I'm trying to do my part in helping him find, you know, like a significant other that will like match him and like counterbalance him, because he does want that. But man, it's tough. Like he's a lot to handle, right? And so he's been in like long-term relationships before, and like, you know, like dude, like people just like can't handle him. Like he's a fucking animal, and it's like he shouldn't like change who he is. Yeah, but he does want to like, you know, like settle down in a sense, like find a long-term partner. Like he does want to have kids one day. And so I'm really interested to, I don't know, be alongside him on this journey as he claims that he wants to slow down his partying, but we'll see how that goes.
Shit, man, that's wild.
Yeah. But shout out to this good homie, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Damn. And with that, let's say this pod.
You've been listening to Modern Day Hippie. As you exit the portal, we have just one small ask of you. If you learned something new today, had a laugh, or resurfaced a drug story of your own, we want to hear about it. Drop us a comment on YouTube and show us some love on your favorite podcasting platforms. Internet algorithms really dog on us because of the topics that we discuss, so your support goes even further here than you might think. We'll catch you next week.